Hey, what's up, guys? Beav, Brodie here, and welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 2. I hope you guys listened to episode 1. But anyways, episode 2 is like the first official episode, so I'm really glad to have you here. In this episode, we talk with my good friend, Craig Hysell. Craig's a great guy. I've known him for a really long time. He's a fitness guru. He was my personal trainer for quite a while. But anyways, in this episode, we talk about some, his past and history and some of the adversities he's faced and how he used those as an advantage and leveraged some of that mindset of not being able to accomplish what he was trying to accomplish then, and using that as a motivator to really accomplish some goals later on in life. And then we talk about kind of the path that he's on now, what he's up to, and a new business that he has started that is teaching leaders and entrepreneurs how to take better care of themselves so that they can take care of their business and continue running their business and taking care of their employees and families and everyone else around them. So sit back, relax, stay tuned, and enjoy the show. Mr. Craig Hysell.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Number 2.
Yeah, this is episode 2.
You're number 1. I've always been number 2.
And you're the first real guest.
Really?
How does that make you feel?
I feel I was excited before, and if it's possible, I'm now even more excited.
That's what I'm talking about. Craig, why don't you give these guys a little bit about who you are?
Okay.
Well,
first, like the last time that I came to your building, none of this stuff was here.
That's
so
right.
Congratulations to you guys.
Craig. So Craig used to come here. He was a personal trainer for me for a while, and he'll tell you kind of some more backstory about himself and how we met, probably, or something like that. But he would come here and
we would do trainer. We would do little workouts
because I'm pretty self-aware, and I know that I won't do it myself. So I had to convince Craig to come here and make me work out in the morning before I started my work day. But you're right. That was when we had just moved into this building.
Yeah.
And none of this was up here.
No.
And now it is.
Yes. So congratulations. Keep trucking.
What do you think? Pretty cool, right?
I am deeply impressed because this is very hard to do. Most people don't understand that, but it's very hard to build and create and move forward.
It's a project.
Every day.
Yeah. So anyways, tell these guys a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Craig Hysell. I love coffee and free hugs. And let's see, I'm 44 years old, and I spent my formative years in Catholic schools. I went to a Catholic grade school and an all-boy Catholic high school. And then when I got to college, I didn't have a good time in high school. And when I got to college,
you didn't have fun in the Catholic school?
I did not. And it was a rough environment for me. I did not fit in. And so when I got to college, maybe I compensated by having too good of a time. But the one thing that usually held my world together for me was the gym. And I was always, to be honest, like when I graduated high school, I was 6 feet, 135 pounds. So I was puny. And I played lacrosse, but I didn't play. I sat the bench my junior and senior year of high school lacrosse. And that really kind of stuck into my craw, so to speak. Like I hated that, and but I could play the game, but I couldn't compete physically. So when I went to college, I worked out more, and I also was starting to. I didn't know this at the time, but my body was physiologically starting to allow me to develop the way I wanted to. Like my testosterone was starting to peak. I was a little bit of a late bloomer.
Got it.
I didn't know that back then. I just saw my friends were all bigger than me and faster than me. And so everything started to catch up for me in college. I put on 50 pounds in college. Most of it was muscle. And I played lacrosse there. I graduated. When I graduated college, I was the captain of my lacrosse team. So I went from riding the bench to becoming a 2-time captain of the team. And when I got to Hilton Head, South Carolina, I went to college at Bowling Green, which is just south of Toledo. It was very cold. When I got to South Carolina, I was back in the sunshine. They didn't have lacrosse. I wanted to keep playing sports. I picked up rugby. And again, the gym held my life together because I was also bartending at the time and living
Still having too much fun.
Too much fun, to be honest with you. But I mean, a lot of laughs, but there's a lot of cost for me for those laughs in terms of what it did to me spiritually and emotionally and the way I was living my life. But again, the gym held it together. I went bankrupt in 2008. I had a property company with a bunch of drinking buddies that I shouldn't have done and that I fronted the cost for. And everything imploded when the recession hit. I went bankrupt. Again, the gym was the only thing really at that point keeping me from killing myself. I've just felt worthless.
You were at like a low.
Yeah. To be honest, like I thought, I never came up with a plan, but I thought about ending my life just because I felt so terrible about. And when you look again,
helpless, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. And again, it's so silly to think those ways, but
looking back, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but I was depressed. I had my girlfriend, who I call her my wife. She's been with me forever.
She's awesome.
Yeah. She stuck with me through all of that. We got pregnant during the recession when we had nothing. And
just to add to it.
Just to add a little bit more complexity to an already complex situation. I didn't like that I had failed at the bankruptcy thing or at the property thing and went bankrupt. That really irritated me. So I wanted to give entrepreneurship another go. With all the working out that I had done, I stumbled into CrossFit. CrossFit at that time, there was the time that we joined, there was 2,000 affiliates in the world. Good opportunity for me to do what I loved the most.
That was like early in the CrossFit like boom.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
like
you got to
right
think 9, 10. It was just starting to. Most people still didn't know what it was. It's still pretty much underground at the time. Like I said, 2,000 affiliates. Now there's over 14,000. I think that number's even grown since the last I looked at it. So CrossFit gave us the opportunity to open a gym. I got to coach and teach, which was my passion, and I got to work out, teach people how to make their lives better through workouts. Sold the gym in October of 2018. I had become a firefighter 2 years earlier, so I got to layer that dream into how I want to live my life. And then now we have an online business that we just started, and our daughter is amazing. My wife's amazing. Our lives are amazing, and to go from thinking about all the rough spots growing up and wanting.
Well, so what I heard from that, and you probably are aware of this because you're very self-aware, is like you've had a lot of adversity, and then you've gone back for a second at bat to try to like probably prove to yourself, I can do this.
Yes.
Starting with lacrosse, sitting on the bench to being the captain.
Right.
You know, it's like you were out to prove it not only to everyone else, but mostly to yourself. You wanted it that bad. How much of that of your success with the times that you've gone back for something do you attribute to like that early first stage of that adversity and like having to sit on the bench or going bankrupt? And do you attribute some of those failures to your later successes and those same things?
Yeah, so I have really very little skill. I owe all of my successes to effort and grit. So that's it.
Right.
I have chicken legs, even though no matter how I'm strong as hell, but I have chicken legs. I'm not marketable. I'm not a super rocket scientist. I don't get great grades, but I do.
You know how to work.
Right. And that work ethic that was instilled into me by my father, and my mom was she was just a pit bull when she wanted something. So I was graced enough with a family who understood effort and grit. Everybody's going to go through, this. Travis knows that. Everybody knows that when life is hard, we just experienced it right before the show. You can lay down, or you can get your act together and go forward.
What are you going to do? Like, that's like, what's the alternative?
A lot of people want to be a victim.
Like you talked about suicide,
right?
Like that's a big deal, and a lot of people do that, and
yes.
that's sad. But
yes.
I think that the people that might be that low need to understand that there's always a way out.
And it's hard to understand that because
when
they
you're
think
in it.
The suicide is the way out because it's so cloudy, it's so murky. It's just not. It's almost like it's not fair that you've gotten to this point, And I totally relate to people who.
Well, because you've worked so hard for so long, and you don't get your break, and it all just comes crashing down, and you're like, where am I going to go from here?
What do I do now? And I can tell if you can hold on for that an hour longer, or that next day, or
and some of it's just reaching out.
Yes, it is.
Asking questions,
right?
Educating yourself,
which I was terrible at.
So because it's embarrassing.
Yes,
it's embarrassing, especially as a grown man, and you have all this pride, and in yourself, and I don't need anyone's help. I can do it myself, and and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's embarrassing to have to ask for help or ask somebody for money or like as a man, like you don't want to do that. But even just asking for advice or what to do, it doesn't have to be money or anything like that, but and educating yourself.
Owning your vulnerability is a strength. So if you are self-aware enough to admit that you don't have all the answers and you are brave enough to ask questions, you're not asking for favors, you're asking questions so that you can move on to the next step, wherever that step is at for you.
Right.
That is a true strength, where for some reason, either culturally or the genetically, the way we're made up as males, maybe females go through the same thing. If you get caught in having too much of an ego, that will catch up with you, which is why I went bankrupt.
Right.
So you have to learn from, you got to take those elbows and get back up.
For sure. Cool. Okay, so that was some of your early stuff in your past, and you mentioned you became a firefighter.
Yeah.
That was part of like the passion of something you wanted to do.
Yes.
And live your life that way. Tell me more about how that fits into the gym and your current business.
Sure.
What is that? I don't.
So the
firefighting
is more for me and my personal journey. So my family I call it holding the line. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a Marine. His father was a Marine. My mom's father was in the Army. We just have a history of service. And when I got out of college, I wanted to serve, but I didn't know what capacity. And I was still extremely angry from all the rules that my formative schooling years had given me. I just was not ready for more rules.
Right.
And so I didn't do that. And I knew that the goal for me is to die well. I don't know when that time is coming, but I want to die well. And that's a daily discipline practice. That's a pursuit. And if I did not hold the line in some way, shape, or form, that I wasn't going to be able to die well. For me, most people are happy to see a firefighter. Not everyone's happy to see a police officer.
Right.
I don't want to carry a gun. I want to be able to medically help somebody. I want to be there for somebody on their worst day to help make that day better. At 44 years old, I know it's not always up to me, but I can do what I'm trained to do to the best of my ability, to make sure that person gets every opportunity to go home, and that so I can go home and sleep well.
Right.
And I want my daughter to understand what our legacy is as a family, and that's very important to me.
Right. Which is just helping other people. You're a people. I don't say people pleaser. You're out to help people and make people's lives better, which is now going to feed into what I really wanted to talk about, which is your new business.
Yeah.
And that's really about like helping other people.
Yes. Well,
I feel like, it's helping people help themselves. I feel like more than anything.
The goal of the business is,
tell us the name of the business.
So the business is called the Essential Way Project. It's strength and conditioning programs for busy adults. And us working together was part of this realization, right?
Kind of a catalyst of like a realization.
When you get to a certain age and you are in your life, I don't mean just an age as a number, but a certain season, we'll call it, in your life, you start to realize why you're doing everything you're doing. And yes, we need to be healthy. And just because you're fit doesn't mean you're healthy or well. So my pursuit is to see people be well. And wellness for me is part of being fit and, happy and not having pain, but it's about self-actualization. So you doing this right now is leading to your self-actualization. The more disciplined you are in crafts, the more that you're going to discover about yourself. And then the higher level you get, that's just the nature of being disciplined. But you need to be healthy, and people need you to be healthy. You're not allowed, once you become a leader, to be a victim, and you are not allowed to let your craft slip if you're good at it because you didn't take care of yourself.
I'm the worst at taking care of myself, period. Hands down, the worst.
Most busy people are.
everyone else in front of me. I will, because I'm a yes person.
Yes.
Hey, can you help me with this? Yep. Can you
Yes.
help me with that? Yep. Hey, can I ask you a question? Yep. Hey,
Yes.
can I meet with you? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm never like, no, sorry. Like, I don't make time for myself.
Right.
The selfish things that I do for myself is working to help other people.
Right.
And I've always done that. And I think that's why I partially was so passionate about fixing cars. One, because I like to fix things and have a finished product. But there was a satisfaction in that, in helping someone else, because it's almost like for you being a firefighter, when somebody's car breaks down, it's a bad day for them. It's not on the same level, but it's something we can relate to, right? Like, I want to be able to help them get their car back on the road, make sure they can take that vacation this weekend or whatever the case is. And there's a satisfaction in knowing that, like, I took care of this person. They feel good about it. I did it in a ethical way. I'm a very honest business person in that regard, and how I was treating customers. But there was a satisfaction of repairing something, fixing something that's broke, because I'm a problem solver on top of wanting to help other people, which I think is where a lot of my personal brand comes in, of like solving problems and trying to figure out the business and give advice and hack the system and how do you run this ad and how do you get the most out of something and find the loopholes and plug the hole, plug the holes in the boat that are allowing water to come in or money pouring out of or whatever. But then on top of that, I'm layering that with taking the knowledge from that to help other people do the same thing. And I have a very, I don't know, I just get a satisfaction out of helping people while fixing problems at the same time. I
think most people do. I think when we help other people feel better or be able to improve in some way, that makes us feel better. I think that's just natural. That's part of
a lot of humans, I like to think.
Right. That's our societal bond, right? That's why we want to see each other. But your situation, from what I learned over 10 years of owning the gym and in my own career, you're not alone. In fact, that's kind of the norm. So when a leader gets to a higher level, their bandwidth shrinks. And you will eventually learn at some point that if you are not taking care of your body will rebel, and then you cannot do the work that you love to do. And then you rob yourself and everybody else who's learning from you because you got sick. And that's not fair. So in order to take, our workouts are designed to be done in between 30 and 60 minutes, but it's a daily practice. You get off one day a week. So you put in the daily habit. The issue with most people is not what to do. It's not really how to do it. It's adding that one more thing in that seems selfish that actually makes your life better for everybody else. And the accountability to that, those are the challenges. And that's what our project tries to guide people through.
Right. So for me, the accountability was a big thing.
Yes.
And I knew that going in.
I knew every time I gave you homework that you were not going to do your homework. If I was there, you were in it. If I wasn't, you were going to make time for the things you felt were more important.
Yeah, and that's just the way I roll. You know? And it sucks. But I knew that about myself, just like you knew it about me.
Right.
Which is the whole reason I had you coming in the first place. And the same reason I used to come to your gym and train with Pete or because I knew that if there was someone there at 7:00 waiting on me and only me, like I didn't participate in the classes. It was a one-on-one with a personal trainer, because I knew if there was somebody waiting on me, I won't let someone else down. Because I do things for other people. I don't do things for me. So I had to put it in my head that I was working out for Pete. I was working out for Craig. I was working out for everyone else but me. I was just there to satisfy them. It's just the way I'm wired. I don't know. I don't get it. And I don't know if that's common or not, but the accountability, I know accountability is huge for a lot of people that does not do it, which is why group workouts or this or that, or doing it with a friend, because you don't want to leave someone else hanging. So I get that side of it.
It's common amongst leaders, and this is my online project, the Essential Way project, is for leaders. It's for the people who take care of everybody else.
And because it's online, and I saw briefly about this, I haven't looked too far into it because I wanted to kind of hear it from you and tell everyone else at the same time. But you have an app for it already out?
Yeah, so it's on your phone.
Coming out?
Yeah, no, the app's out. So you just basically, when you sign up for our program, you get an app delivered to your phone. It tells you the daily workout. But on top of that, there's video instruction on how to do the movements, but there's also every day comes with a video piece for me or by me to keep you and the rest of the people accountable. So it's always about how are we applying whatever we learned today in the gym to your life and your clients going forward.
So there's
or
an
your
accountability
community.
piece to it.
Yes. So you log in your stuff. I always check. And right now, so the problem for me in the future will be, how does this thing scale? But I'm not worried about that now, because I'll tell you. So as a leader, I'll tell you this. My mission when I owned the gym was to educate and empower as many people as possible to live their dream. That was my mantra for a decade. Mm-hmm. And when I sold the gym, I realized that it was wrong, because I was always focused on as many people as possible. My goal today is to educate and empower the person in front of me to live their dream. And that brings me back to the present. And if I'm taking care of the present, well, then the future stuff, that will layer into it. If I'm taking care of the now, the future will take care of itself. If I learn from my past to layer into the now, the future will automatically, the cards will start to be placed where they need to be placed.
Right.
The hardest thing for busy people who like to help other people and make it not only their figurative spiritual job, but their literal job, that's how they make their money and feed their family, is taking a little bit of time for themselves to do the self-growth work that makes them.
It's a long game. And
it is.
And I understand it, because it's no different from the things that I do on a regular basis in a mentality standpoint of, it's a long game. It's branding, it's marketing. It's like, yeah, take the steps. This is what you need to do. It's going to take a while.
Yes.
To see the results. And like, I don't even like, of course I have the days where I feel fat, but like part of it is I don't feel like I need to work out. Like, I don't feel terrible. Mm-hmm. I don't like, there's days where my back is sore, and I'm like, I sit in a chair all day, and like, I'm sure moving and stretching and doing those things would help that. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like I'm this out of shape fat guy that just has got to get to the gym or I'm going to have a heart attack.
Right.
And so I think that's a lot of it, is I don't feel like I need it.
Right.
So I'm not putting that as a priority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the whole trick, because eventually when you feel you do need it, you're way in the hole.
Late.
It's not too late. It's just going to take a lot longer to climb out.
Travis, do you remember you had an instructor at school, and this has stuck with me before I had my own business, but I'm trying to remember, was it Brian Fuller or somebody that was like, if you're waiting to, I think it was you. I think it was an instructor you had at school, but if a lot of people wait until business slows down to start advertising. Mm-hmm. And then it's too late.
Right.
Like, it takes a while for advertising
Yes.
to work. It's not an overnight, like,
No.
oh, we're slow, I need to
dump some money in that Facebook ad and you'll be fine.
And it's a little bit easier now digitally, right. But before you didn't have all that. You were like throwing billboards up and, trying to get into the local magazine and getting the newspaper ads, and that was how we did it, print
right.
ads. And that wasn't like, I'll fire up a Facebook ad this afternoon and I'll get some more business. It's probably a slightly more, it's quicker now. I mean, right. I know that. I can turn on an ad today and make a ton of money, assuming there's inventory available and everything else is in line, But if you're waiting till that low point to do something about it,
you're
behind.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I get that. I totally get that. I just don't apply it to myself. I apply it to everyone else and everything else around me but
right.
me.
Right. Yet.
Yeah, I need to sign up on the app. I'm going to do it right now. Where do I go? What's the website?
Go to theessentialwayproject.com.
The Essential Way?
Yes. But the principle of essentialism, and maybe you're familiar with this, and the person listening is as well, is less but better. So Greg McKeown wrote a book called Essentialism, and Bruce Lee was a big proponent of essentialism. So there's a lot of conceptual stuff over my 44 years and all the stuff I love into this essential piece. But it's like you said, it's the long game, and to play the long game correctly, it's doing a little bit every day.
This is a nice website.
And thanks.
I might have to do a teardown. Have you ever seen the website teardowns I do?
No.
Yeah. Also, I'll go through and critique people's, usually e-commerce, because that's where I'm really knowledgeable.
Yeah, please critique it, because I made it myself on Wix. So I don't know.
My first impression is very nice. Can you
figure out what it is? like immediately. Like I want people to look at it and go, "Oh, this is what it's for."
That's a huge deal.
Right.
So that's a big deal. Like the first thing I critique on anyone's website is
What
who
are
are
they
you
offering?
and what do you do?
Right.
There's some people that have like this. They get too artsy about it, and you're like,
Yeah.
What? I don't know. What
Which
you
was
do,
a
what you
huge
sell,
problem
or
for me because I'm kind of artistic and too wordy. So this was this is 10 years of losing that has got me to hopefully getting semi-winning right here. Like this is 10 years
less
of me
is
doing it
more.
wrong.
Kind of go back to what
Less but better.
Keep talking about what you were talking about. Sorry to interrupt about your awesome.
No,
website.
so to play the long game, it's just about a little bit every day. So, for instance, my daily habit is to wake up at 5:30 in the morning, to take care of whatever I need to take care of bathroom-wise, make a cup of coffee, and then I'll do a little bit of reading and a little bit of writing. And that sets me up every day for the mindset I need to win. It gives me gratitude, it gives me empathy, it gives me compassion and patience and all that good stuff, fortitude. If I don't do that little bit every day, I'm off for that day. I feel it because I've done it for so long. I can maybe get away with it for a day, but I cannot go 2 days without the daily discipline. The same thing with my physical training. 1, I need it for my job. 2, I need it for my life. Because 3, it makes me better outside the gym. If what I'm doing in the gym isn't making me better outside the gym, why am I doing it? I'm 44 years old. I don't need to compete in anything to feel good about myself. I don't care about leaderboards. I don't care about competition. My competition comes on those really heavy calls that happen every now and then in the fire department. You know, am I ready for that person? Or because if I'm not, and I fail that person, they deserved better than that because I'm a professional firefighter. And I try to be a professional human being while still having a sense of humor and drinking coffee and getting free hugs from people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I'm not being professional in my life and I'm letting the person down on scene, that's a failure to my duty that I sworn to do with the fire department. But it's also a failure of my duty as a father, as a husband, as a person running a business for other people who are too busy. If I'm not eating my own food and what I'm serving, I have zero credibility. And street cred is a currency so much people, they try to. You'll see it on Instagram, right? I know you know this. You see everybody's buying it. I don't want to buy it. I want to friggin' earn it every day and eventually hope that it shows up. Obviously, there are tools that you can use to get the word out because you can have the best product in the world.
Right.
And if you don't get the word out, nobody knows. But I don't want to buy likes. I don't care about likes. I care about people who are actually
success. You don't want to pay for success.
I want to care about people who are using this stuff.
Unlike the parents that were buying their kids into college.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that was like a big thing. They were like celebrities were paying their kids' way into like Harvard and all these big name universities.
Okay, see, that always catches up to you.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
But it will whenever you do something,
you can't. There's no shortcuts in life.
That's why I hate that word hack. Like I do not like the word hack. When I grew up, a hack was a crap writer. So when I talk about hacks, like I steer, and I understand what you mean by hack. You're not trying to shortcut the system. You're trying to navigate your way
loopholes
through it.
In trying to
But so many people are, and Gary, I know you're a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan. So many he says the same thing. Stop looking for freaking hacks and just go work on your content, work on who you are, and the content will come.
It'll come. It's like you got to put the content out there, and the people will come. You know what I mean? If you're good enough,
right. But it
is a big caveat, and like he's real big on it. If you're good enough,
it took me a decade to get here, and it took me 34 years to get to that a decade that brought me to here. It's all legwork.
Mm-hmm.
But people forget
and a lot of people see and what they perceive as an overnight success.
There is none.
And
there
a
is
lot
none.
of
There
people
are
think
none.
that with me, like. There were so many things I was doing beforehand, before Tactical Baby Gear, that was leading up to that point, but all of that prior experience accelerated things with Tactical Baby Gear, but it was like the 10 and 15 years before that of failing and learning from those failures to where I was ready when I did something else.
Right.
I already knew what not to do.
Right.
And I knew a lot of right things to do, and I still screwed things up. But they see something that kind of, to them, looks like an overnight success, but it was like 15 years in the making. Little does anybody know.
Have you ever heard of Dave Ramsey talk about as momentum theory?
No.
So Dave Ramsey, very popular person regarding how to get people's finances back on track, but he has a company that's called Entree Leadership. So they help a lot of entrepreneurs who are young in the game or developing the game, or who have been in the game a while. I guess it helps anybody.
Sure.
But a big thing he talks about is when you have momentum, and you have to earn momentum. When you have momentum, it looks like you can do no wrong. And people are like, wow, they're really hitting. It's an overnight success. And when you have no momentum, even if you're doing things right, people are like, oh gosh, this person is... you can feel dumber than you are. He says you can feel more stupid than you actually are. You have to earn momentum, and guess what gives you momentum? Effort and grit. So it's just it's going back to effort and grit. I call it chop wood, carry water. So there's an old proverb: chop wood, carry water, and that means you have to do the daily stuff every day to fuel everything else. You need wood for fire to cook your food, and you need water to live. Chop wood, carry water. Every day, chop wood, carry water. And if you chop wood and carry your water every day, and that's a seasonal thing. Sometimes you need more wood in the winter. You know what I mean? It's you have to be aware.
Yeah.
We have a great, what I feel is we do a lot of blog posts on theessentialwayproject.com. Please subscribe. If you go in there, get part of the inner circle. Go ahead.
Okay. So speaking of your website, as I look through it, there's not a clear way to sign up.
Okay.
I saw where I can sign up for the emails.
Right.
You need like some very clear call to actions.
Okay. So where
and
it
that's
says
for anybody listening. If you have a website that you're trying to get somebody or your customer or whoever to do something on your website, make it very, very clear at certain points. Like your homepage is great, and it's like kind of like a long format sales page. It tells us about who you are, what do you guys do, and all this stuff. And you can click on training programs, and it shows you the training program information. But there's no clear way of like
how to sign up
here. Okay. So like big, bold, like whatever color scheme you were on. I don't remember if you were using what colors.
Whitish, bluish,
and bluish.
light,
so,
happy.
Using your color theme, but like a straight up big, huge button multiple times down this website. So hold on. We're interrupting again, but with this whole situation. So you've got training programs here.
Right.
I'll do this way so maybe they can see. Or I'll end up putting this on the screen for everybody that's watching this on YouTube. But like consistent, body, mind, simple, scalable. Instead of training programs again, I'd put sign up now.
Okay.
And then here's more information, and I would put another sign up button down
right there.
Here.
Okay.
And then again there, or
sign
maybe
up.
it's like, but give them options along the way to sign up.
Copy.
And then the training programs, and again, even at the bottom of this page, sign up.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Done. I'll do it today.
Because I don't see where to sign up for the for the thing.
You know what's funny? Is I think still at this level of the game and still how old I am and all the experience, I still get afraid to make the ask.
You got to do it. You can't confuse your customers. You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing, that, you're providing a service. They're coming because they probably need this service or want this service, so you can't hide it from them.
Yeah.
There's
I'm doing them a disservice if I hide it.
Yeah. Well, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Both of
you're
us.
Trying to create a business.
The collective we is getting screwed over by my ineptitude.
Well, because it's uncomfortable. It's like that, almost like in the bad position you were in when you went bankrupt and all these things. Like you're almost, it's almost like that. You don't want to ask for things. And some people are great salesmen and all that stuff, but you and I are not. We're trying to provide value and help people. We're not like, give me your money.
Right.
Which is why I think I have such a strong brand, is because not every piece of content out there is me with my hand out asking for your money.
It's almost like we forget to ask. My wife crawls up in me all the time. She's like, hey, stop giving all this stuff out for free.
Where's the sales? We're not going to make any money on this,
You have to feed us. Right. You have
Which
to
is
help
funny because earlier in
the
the vlog, and maybe I'll pop it in, I was just telling Travis that somebody mentioned to me one time, be like, man, I watch all your videos. I watch all the vlogs, all the videos, but like, you're never trying to sell me anything. Why?
Right, because people want to buy.
I don't have anything to sell you. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I want to help other people and provide information to them.
Right.
I don't need money through this channel. I don't need money. Like my business makes me plenty of money. I don't need it from helping other people. But they were like mind blown that I wasn't trying to sell something in my videos.
But I think too, like for you and what you...
I'm selling my reputation.
And there's a lot of equity into that. And sometimes I think people really want a higher level, more personalized degree of mentorship. And you should be able to charge for that. I have a buddy who just wrote a book. And his mentor charged him $1,500 an hour.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. Travis just looked at me like, what?
Yeah. Listen, I do charge for consulting when somebody wants it on their time.
Right.
I will put out all the content for free on my time when it works into my schedule. And you want to go consume it on YouTube or Facebook or listen to a podcast and gain knowledge. That way, when it's kind of on my time of like when I put it out, if you want my time on a Wednesday, like I charge money for that. My time is very valuable to me.
Right.
So if you want me to do it on your time, it's going to cost money.
Right. Good.
If you're doing it, if you're going to consume and get the information, on my time, it's free.
Right.
Like when it works for me.
Because that's what I plan on layering into my business over at the Essential Way Project is people might want to talk to me at a deeper level. And I love those conversations. There has to be a time limit and it has to come at a fee. That way the honesty is there.
Right.
Because if you do it all for free, you will be wasting their time and your time because they're not going to use what you say. But if somebody pays for it, if somebody puts their hard-earned greenbacks down, they're serious. And I've learned over the years that I want to talk to the serious people, which is why I really, really like talking to leaders because they want to put the stuff into play that day. That like I'll go back, what you just told me, I'll do that today. Today, that will happen.
Right.
Because I'm excited about it.
You know what I love about excitement in the early days of things? I love the early grind of trying to figure it out. Man, nothing gets me more pumped up and fired up to like, it goes back to the problem solving. I like to do, I like to figure it out. I like to, how's this going to work? How to optimize this or do that. And that excitement and that passion creates the energy.
Right.
And that energy just allows you to work like nonstop.
Do you know what's funny? So I used to say, because people would come at me with business ideas and all this stuff all the time, and new gyms would pop up. Like when we started our gym on Hilton Head, there were like 8 gyms, and now there's like 20. But there's always, so I always tell people this. There's the idea, there's doing the idea, there's doing the idea well, and then there's sustaining the idea. The first two are pretty easy. Doing it well and then sustaining the idea. We were in business for almost a decade in the gym business, which is hard to do at a micro gym level. I'm very proud of that. To do it well and for our reputation to be what it was. Yes, I'm sure somewhere along the line, I'm positive we offended somebody. We didn't make everybody happy.
Right.
And we lost our way a little bit on a couple of things. I broke my team probably 4 or 5 times, but I own all of it. I apologize for the stuff I need to apologize for.
Right.
If it was hurt or not, I don't know. But the doing it well and sustaining it are back to effort and grit. The first two are fun. The idea and starting the idea, well, shoot, that's a good time.
Yeah.
But then you'll see people, that's that whole thing. Most people can last about 3 to 5 years in the entrepreneurial space. And then they're like, well, this wasn't profitable. It was harder than I thought, whatever. And that's fine. It's not for everybody. But watching people get through that, I love talking to people who've gotten past the first 5, 6, 7 years because those are the hardest ones.
Yeah.
And then sustaining it and making it better are a different game.
Sustaining and maintaining it. And when something's put together and there's a solid foundation in place and it's like a well-oiled machine, if you're not worried about it's less exciting to me personally. That's just knowing what I like. But like when it's just working and you just know it's good and you tighten the screws and adjust the carb a little and all these things but it's not as exciting as the early days. It just isn't.
So I think you would really love my buddy's book. If you don't read, I always tell people I'll say a book and be like, I don't read. It'll be on Audible.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
I can't read 2 sentences. People send me emails. Like if you've ever received an email from me, it's like 3 words. Like, comma, sounds great, period, send.
You text me mostly in emojis.
yeah, that's my communication. Like it's so bad because and I definitely hate reading. And Alex will send me like 3-paragraph email about something and I'm like, can you come read this to me? I'm serious. It's
you might
awesome.
really like my,
So anyways,
my buddy.
Audible.
He has a mentor. He mentors gyms, not gyms specifically, but mostly gyms. And he has clients from all over the world now. And it's in a mentorship program. It's not an online program. You actually have a mentor. And he was my mentor, and he's an awesome guy. But he's just wrapped up his book called Founder, Farmer, Tinker, Thief. And he thinks in his studies, these are the levels of an entrepreneur. At first, you're a founder, then you're a farmer, then you're like what you're doing right now is you're kind of tinkering, because like with the podcast, like you just said, you don't need to do these things, but you love to create new stuff when the other stuff is already going. Like that's just in your blood,
Right.
And then there's the thief phase where you kind of make it all work at another level. And I think the probably budding entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs are listening to you. And I think that's another great resource to layer in what you're already offering these folks if they're hungry for development. It's not improvement. I hate the term self-improvement. It's self-development.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's develop ourselves and then use it for our people that we care about.
Right.
Because that's exciting.
It is.
I mean, just improving for this.
It's
sake of
awesome.
improvement is a little boring.
Craig, I'm going to wrap things up here.
Sweet.
I'm sure that this thing's getting a little bit long. If you guys listened this long, I really, really appreciate it.
I appreciate it as
You know,
well.
we are learning our way through the podcast cycle here. So if you're still listening, I really appreciate it. Craig, where can these guys find you?
My email is craig@theessentialwayproject.com, or go to theessentialwayproject.com. Look me up. If you've got any questions, ask.
Instagram, Facebook? and all
Instagram at the Craig Hysell, and then Facebook I don't really do a whole lot of, so kind of hit me on those.
And
channels.
I will put those links in the description of the video, and I'll also put them in the show notes so that you guys can click those links and find Craig if you are into all the things that Craig is up to in some self-development.
Thanks for having me, brother.
You got it, dude. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Subscribe, on YouTube if you're watching it here. If you're listening, subscribe on whatever platform this is. We're on Libsyn, and then this is being pushed to iTunes and a bunch of other stuff.
You're so busy. I love it.
Man, I'm trying.
I love you.
I'm trying. So anyways, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Cheers.
Peace.